afternoon. We're here to talk about informative speaking. It's kind of weird that we're here because we started with the introduction, then we ended with the conclusion, and now we're going to talk about the meat of it, the middle of it. So sit back and enjoy the ride, and we'll get this thing done, get it going. Most of the things when you start about informative speaking, you need to know where you're going to speak to and what you're going to speak about. So we're going to start talking about the audience's point of view first. You kind of need to figure out where you're coming from, especially with your audience talking to other students. If you want to talk about music and you talk about country music here in Idaho, you're probably going to have a pretty informed audience, and you're going to have to come up with something new or fresh, something that's appropriate to college students. If you talk about Bernie Sanders, that may be appropriate, or you may be in a Trump camp. So you need to figure out which way you're going to go and get the most reaction, even if it's a violent reaction because you talk about Trump. It's still the reaction that you're looking for. You don't have to worry about violence if we're in the classroom on video, so you don't have to worry about it. Anyway, it's important to make it relevant. Everybody needs to care. You're going to have 6 members of your group watching this video, and you want to stay friends with them. Make it something that people would be interested in. Whenever you give information, it needs to be information people want to receive. You can't force information on somebody. Once again, we talked a little bit about persuasion, and we'll go over that a lot more in a couple of weeks in our persuasive chapter. But you need to be objective. Don't be objectionable. You need to be objective when you're talking about it. Even if you're talking about Bernie Sanders, or you're talking about Chevrolet or Nissan, you need to know that not everything is right. You got to keep perspective on it. If you are not objective and you're really a Trump supporter, you need to state it. You need to tell them, this is where I'm coming from. Not to persuade you, but to give you my opinion. This is very opinionated, not persuasive. Facts are always good. Opinions would be more persuasive. If you can rely on other people's information, it's going to be more of a informational type speaking. Although personal thoughts can be testimony, I have seen in my experience is good testimony, and they are a fact. But you can't rely your whole speech on the fact. You can't rely your whole speech on just your opinion. You have to have facts and research and evidence to go in there with it. Ethically speaking, don't exaggerate. Don't pull facts out of your body orifices. You need to have a specific, direct evidence for your information. If you want to talk about Madonna being the greatest singer and recording artist of all time, that's great, but you really need to be able to back that up by statistics, data, hard evidence. So reliable information. You can't say that you got that evidence off of her fan site based web address. Doesn't work. And plagiarism, if you do get that information somewhere, you need to source that. You can't just pretend like you know it all and quoting statistics off the top of your head. Let's talk about topics. In the class, you're pretty much going to be hands-free, whatever you want to talk about. It's going to be neat to get to know you because of the things you have passion for and what you love, the things that you really want to share with the rest of the class. But make sure the topic is relevant. If you still have an insect collection from when you were young on pins into a cork board, I really am not that interested in it. Make sure it's something that we all like. If you're a geologist and collect rocks, I think that's really cool. But maybe there's something that a lot more of us would grasp and jump to and have fun. Also on this, there's a lot of things we're interested in, and you may think, oh, this is a great excuse for me to go and learn about underwater hemp basket weaving. But on this short semester and the little bit of time you have here, it's not time to become an expert on something you don't know before. You haven't known before. Grab something you know about, something you love and you're passionate about, and inform us on that. And make sure it's not persuasive. You don't want to try to talk us into all buying a timeshare or becoming Dallas Cowboys fans. So you're going to inform us why the Cowboys are great, which would be really hard, or tell us why you like something, but don't make us like it too. So what topics can you talk about? Let's say you're a history buff and you like famous people, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, or you like musical actors or actresses, or actors, a musical artist, yes, musical artists or actors or actresses. That would be okay too. You really need to do something that we haven't heard before. If you want to talk about, oh, this is going to be a bad example, why Tupac died. Hopefully I've got the right artist and the right death here. Something that everybody knows about except for me, because I don't listen to that kind of music. It would be overdone. If you talk too much about George Washington, one, he's an old dude and not very many people care, but we've heard all those stories. So choose your people carefully. Places, Hawaii, beautiful, we've heard about it. Niagara Falls, you know, think of something, a place that we haven't been before, or it hasn't been overdone. The Bermuda Triangle, nah. Pyramids, nah. Something original, a phenomenon. The Northern Lights, the Super Bowl, especially with the cheating scandal that this came through, fixing the games. An event would also be like the Super Bowl, or an event maybe in somebody's life like a bar mitzvah or something like that. Concepts, how about the electromagnetic sonic wave that the Navy is using to take down planes? Or a conceptual design for a new building if you're an engineering student, or even for medicine. You could talk about issues, Dharma, the Trump tax plan, or issues such as Prop 9, or issues, social issues within your city. That's all okay. Remember to keep it appropriate and not be too controversial. If you have a problem or a question about an issue or a policy that you want to talk governmental or school policies, shoot me an email and we'll talk about if that's going to be a little bit too edgy for the class, or something that maybe on this short of a semester you don't want to dive too deep into. But realistically, any topic you want to talk about, please let's talk about it. We will have an assignment where you're going to submit 3 different ideas for topics, and you and I will work together to narrow them down. But right now, just let your imagination go. Excuse me. There's a couple different ways to, once you get your topic, that you can give that information to us. These will all be covered in detail on pages 442 to 447 in your textbook. Right now, what I really want to do is describe the most common ways to go about it. For your exams and your quizzes, you'll really want to know the stuff in the book, but right now let's talk about what would make it easier for you to write and present an informative speech. The first way is you can use descriptions. If you're going to talk about a vacation destination like Cancun, Mexico, or an Alaskan cruise, you can talk about what it's like, the feelings and the smells and the views that you see, the experience of flying there and doing those things. You really want to get submersive in your visions and your ideas and your illustrations. When you have visual aids, you want to show pictures of what it's like. Really get them absorbed into it. I've seen some great demonstration speeches too, especially since you're doing this from your house in a video. You could show somebody how to do something. Baking's a great example. You can do like a little TV, famous chefs, Chopped, or what are those movies are, the reality TV shows, but you can do a demonstration video on how to do something, from building something in the garage or something within your kitchen. That could be really fun. Explanations, speeches are kind of self-explanatory, but once again, go over those details in the textbook. There's 5 different types of definition types of speeches. The one I really want to hit is definition by example. Give me an example of what it is. I heard a great speech on a new wave music. There's anyway, when the music came out and they wanted to define it in a certain genre. And so they broke down the type of music and the type of similarities it had to that genre and tried to fit it in there and show us that exactly what it was. That worked out really well. Mostly for us, we're going to use descriptors, and we're going to describe what we're talking about. Describe the music, describe the place, describe the person, describe the event. Now, when you work on your speech, this kind of ties in with your introduction, opening with impact. You want to have curiosity from your audience. You do not start with, today I'm going to talk about the President Kennedy assassination. They're like, oh, great, I heard that before. You start with intrigue. You arouse their curiosity by saying, have you ever seen anybody being killed? Have you ever seen live footage of somebody getting shot in the head? That's kind of gruesome, I know, but you want to build that curiosity. Find out something that relates to them or something about it they don't know. Did you know that there was a fourth gunman, or that their wife had a vendetta against them? That would get some intrigue, and they'd say, well, maybe I should listen to this Kennedy thing. And connecting the topic to the audience. You will see when the example speech that we watched, how she connected the love and drug to the audience, where everybody's fallen in love, everybody's taking drugs. Me, it's just aspirin, that's all the drugs I've taken. But that everybody could draw into that topic. You want to do the same thing with your topic. So if you have something regarding 80s disco, it may be tough to get people to draw into it. So choose your topic that will bring curiosity and intrigue by your listeners. Organizational structure. We've talked a little bit about this before, about how you're going to organize it. And if you're going to talk about vacation spots and topographical of where they're at, in chronological, what started and what finished, and this, the organizational and structure. We went over that before. Emphasize your important points. We looked at that in the outlines as we broke it down, main points and subpoints, and really drive those main points home. On your introduction, you have a roadmap, what those main points are, and in the conclusion, you're going to review what those main points were. One of the biggest cautions I need to throw at you is this right here. Don't overwhelm the audience. Whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. Don't overwhelm the audience. I have seen a lot of times that somebody will talk about something they're really passionate about. They work for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and they've seen lives change. And it's a great place, and they do a lot of great work. And they get up there and tell us about it, and I'm really excited for them, but then they just don't end. They go on, and they give us so much information and so many great stories, and you can only be engaged in this for so long, and then you're like going on and on and on. So make your main points, tell them, and then knock it off. Don't overwhelm us with too much passion, too much excitement, too much emotion, too much information. Main points, make them clear, and then move on. It's really great when you know the people that you're going to be talking to and you know kind of where they're at. If you're trying to introduce a new genre of music and you can base it off what you know they are listening to or what they know about. If you're going to talk about a new method to do something, you know where they're at. If you're talking auto mechanics or if you're talking baking, you kind of know where everybody's at. Supporting materials is great. If you're going to have visual aids and you have pictures, or you have a process and tools you're going to use, make sure that they aren't a black and white picture or something really blurry, or a tool nobody's ever seen before where you have to explain it so much that it loses the feel and the importance of it. Your presentation aids are going to make a big difference. They're really going to enhance the speeches you're going to give, and we're going to talk a lot more about them in the future. Remember, if you're talking about something medical or even baking, if you have different ingredients, that we may not know what you mean in the terms. If you're talking about skateboarding or football, there's some rules and parts and things that we don't know. Make sure and define those out so we can follow along with you. We'll be more informed and we'll learn more. It's always a good thing. And basically that's it. I know I go pretty fast. It's my nature. And here's the scary part. There we go. And there's a lot of information there that's really important. Next week we're going to do a small informative speech on you, a past, present, future, where you talk a little bit about yourself, and we'll post it for your groups. It'll give me a chance to see how you organize things and put it together and give you a great idea for what's to come. So informative speaking is fun. It's going to be something that you like, something you're interested in, and that passion will definitely come through to us as you deliver your presentation. So as always, if you have any questions, I first advise you to complain, moan, and groan, and bicker with your friends, and then email me. That way I get the happiness and I can help you out better. So if there's anything else, give me a call. If not, we'll do all this again real soon.